Families and survivors of the Grenfell Tower fire say that their campaign for justice is getting more difficult because of the growing numbers of buildings deemed to be a fire risk. 72 people lost their lives in the disaster 4 years ago today. And while the government says it's committed to ensuring that such a tragedy is never repeated, campaigners say that efforts to fix the problems need to be far better funded. Our correspondent Sarah Corker reports now.
I don't think a minute or an hour goes by without me thinking about Grenfell. And we're 4 years in now and we're a long, long way from receiving any justice.
Ed Daffarn was rescued from the 16th floor of Grenfell Tower. He'd warned about the fire risk in the months before the tragedy. And today, he warns not enough is being done to make other buildings safe. Has there been enough progress?
So no, as long as that cladding remains on the outside of these buildings, Grenfell 2 will happen. People's lives are in danger, and that is unbelievable. I mean, if it was 4 months after Grenfell, it would be bad enough. It's 4 years after Grenfell.
What started as a small kitchen fire engulfed the entire building. The type of cladding on the tower has been blamed for helping to spread the flames. The consequences of what happened here are still being dealt with. Checks on other tower blocks in the wake of this tragedy revealed many other faults, and the true scale of this building safety crisis is only now being fully realised. This map by cladding campaigners shows the volume of buildings found to have cladding issues and other fire safety flaws since 2017. That includes New Providence Wharf in East London. Just last month, residents here escaped these smoke-filled corridors.
It was absolutely terrifying, and what went through my mind was, you know what, if I don't make it out, I want people to see what's happening. You know, it was kind of like, okay, maybe this is it.
Mariam was one of 35 people rescued and is now living in a hotel.
Do you feel let down by the government, by the building owners?
Definitely. I mean, you go in seeing all these shiny brochures and it's the last thing that you expect when you're buying a place. It's really actually shocking that in this day and age, in a first world country, we have buildings like this and we have, people living in death traps.
This block will get government funding to cover some of the defects, and since the fire, the developers have now agreed to pay for the remaining work. Cladding groups have taken their calls for financial help to Parliament. Ministers have allocated more than £5 billion to remove cladding, but say more building owners must do the right thing and not pass on costs to flat owners.
We need a sense of urgency about this issue.
The Bishop of Kensington wants legislation to force developers to act.
People here in Grenfell needed to feel safe in their homes, and they weren't safe. And people around the country are facing all kinds of mental and financial stress as a result of the cladding crisis, and so we need to solve it urgently.
In the meantime, some Grenfell survivors say the tower should stand as a monument.
As a community, I don't think we're prepared just to have the tower taken down. And if I had my own way, I would rip the covering off the tower and expose it in its full, horrific brutality until we get some form of justice.
That was Ed Daffarn ending that report from Sarah Corker.